Good afternoon and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goil Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and Meridian Port Services, MPS. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GPH. Our media partner on this journey of your lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. If you want to have a grasp of all that transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. Now, we're also streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Iron Port. Indeed, we shall be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is to send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177, 0559-019-177, and at the appropriate time on our pick signals from our production team, we shall activate the phone line for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue with the show. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, it's time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And in the course of the week, the Ghana Maritime Authority had calls to meet stakeholders in the industry on port reception facilities, plus the fact that the Fisheries Minister has commended Ghana's leading oil marketing company, Goil Company Limited, for supplying quality marine gas and fuels to fishing vessels. Let's take a look at these stories.
Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Mavis Howard-Kumson, has lauded Goil for the provision of quality marine gas, oil, and lubricants to fishing vessels. In a keynote address at a fisheries stakeholder meeting on fuel bunkering services for marine vessels in Tema, Howard-Kumson noted that local companies such as Goil are well positioned and capable of providing quality services to sustain the industry.
Goil, a key stakeholder, has obtained all the requisite regulatory operating permits from National Petroleum Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, and Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Also, Goil, being a wholly owned Ghanaian company, does not repatriate funds outside the country.
The head of technical and special products at Goil, John Tego, assured fishing vessel owners of continuous delivery of quality products and services.
Goil has brought the good things our customers are enjoying on land, all over the country, to the sea. We expanded and made ourselves so visible at sea, providing you with the marine gas oil of highest international standard.
The South African High Commissioner to Ghana, Grace Janet Mason, also encouraged the Fisheries Ministry to continue engaging stakeholders to ensure oceans are protected against pollution and environmental degradation.
And as South Africa, Honourable Minister, we've had a project which we called Pakisa, and that was an oceans economy project. And these are opportunities that as nations between South Africa and Ghana, we can collaborate in terms of strategic partnership, in terms of technical advice.
At the end of discussions, stakeholders called for a roundtable discussion with the ministry and Goil to find a lasting solution to the effect of fuel price instabilities affecting smooth operations in the industry. There were fraternal messages from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, National Petroleum Authority, executives of fisheries associations, and vessel owners and companies. In keeping with its mandate of enforcing international maritime conventions in Ghana, the Ghana Maritime Authority has met with representatives of port reception facilities to discuss gaps that exist when performing their functions at the ports. The meeting, which took place in Accra, also had the participation of key stakeholder institutions who play some role in Ghana's implementation of the MAPO 73-78 Convention. These include the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the National Petroleum Authority, among others. The International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, also known as MAPO, was established to prevent ships from polluting the marine environment. Signatories to this convention, including Ghana, are required to provide adequate port reception facilities to receive ship waste ashore. At the meeting, the Ghana Maritime Authority highlighted some of the challenges associated with the implementation of the International Convention.
The garbage up to 5 cubic and the sludge, I think up to 15 cubic, is free. But people collaborate with the agents and then discharge garbage. At the end of the day, they go to masters to go and collect garbage fees and then sludge fees.
If the vessel to discharge, the ship to discharge the sludge is at anchorage, this reception facility boat moves to the anchorage and take only the sludge and the garbage, but has no right or responsibility to go on board to check oil record book or garbage record book.
Stakeholders present also raised other concerns.
Our main concern is the end use of the waste oil, because we've arrested some BRVs some time ago, and we traced it to some of the reception facilities here.
And then we have, Ghana Revenue Authority also coming up with issues of tax. These waste facilities are supposed to be, handled in a way that to motivate the ships not to dispose of the waste at sea. But if we introduce more cost, like VAT, for instance, we are adding more cost.
It is very difficult for the various directors, either GMA or GPHA, to engage customs. But we believe that since we have sector ministers, this matter should be handled at the administrative level, so that when the decisions or directives are given out, we don't have any problem.
All right, so you're welcome back. We are zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and you would have heard from the Bank of Ghana and government that Bank of Ghana is withdrawing Forex for selected imports, which include rice, poultry, vegetable oils, toothpicks, pasta, fruit juice, bottled water, and ceramic tiles, among others. We just want to examine what the implications would be for the economy if the implementation of this particular directive from government begins. And so with us to do the discussion, we have in the studios Mr. Adequacy Adumaku, who is from West Africa, who is the West Africa Regional Director of CAS International Accra. Yes, and welcome.
Good afternoon, your viewers.
Thank you very much for obliging us. And no other person is also in the studios apart from the President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome. Good afternoon, sir. And thank you for obliging us too. Right. So we shall along the line be speaking to Michael Obri-Ejay, who is Executive Secretary of Exim Frozen Food Association of Ghana. They also have some concerns they want to raise as far as this particular policy is concerned. But let me begin with you, Dr. Obeng, and find out what your initial reaction was when you heard about this directive from government through the Bank of Ghana.
I think we are all aware of government intention to reduce importation, because the perennial depreciation of the cedi have been blamed on excessive importation that we do in this country. That economics have been saying this, government have been saying, and all directed to the importation that we do as traders. And so this was to be expected in one way or the other. The fact that people have been talking about rice for a long time, the fact that people have been talking about edible oil, and those allied items that were shortlisted. To tell the truth, for us traders, we do not have any opposition to this, because we will be better served if we have these goods in abundance in this country, produced at good quality and better competitive prices for us. The trade that we do does not know boundaries. And especially when you have it in your own country, then you are even better served.
Right.
So we do not have any problem in this regard. And the last meeting the stakeholders had with Paris Select Committee on Trade in Parliament, all of us had consensus, the fact that this is the surest way to go, that those areas that we have potential, we should give it a chance and then minimize importation or even ban. People, the AGI and the rest were proposing that there should be a ban. We have always been saying that we should do it side by side until we achieve self-sufficiency.
Right.
But if this is the way to go by the government, then of course we have to give it the needed backing and support so that we will be able to achieve. But the directives of the Bank of Ghana seem to be in a rush. Even that we are all trying to do, government own initiative policies seem to gear towards this area. Government have not come out with clear timelines. It has not come with this roadmap, because we have to hit the running. Before we can take any decision, because this is very important, because it's about food
right.
that people will need to survive on. And so, at the moment Bank of Ghana came to announce these directives, is the beginning of the greater challenges that we are going to have, because people might start hoarding. Pressure will be on these imported goods because people might need to store it, and then price will be hiked and all that. And so I think they do not coordinate what they were doing with the policymakers, what their roadmaps are and all that. Because this is not a joke. This thing that if you do not take care, will go a long way to make the people of Ghana suffer a great consequence. That's why we've been saying that we should hasten slowly. But the fact that they have come out with this announcement, this is why we have to find a way to let the government also come in. Because government should be able to be bold, to know what is actually doing. Are you banning these products? Because the directive seems to suggest that these products are banned. And nothing else. If you say that you are not going... The
statement was explicit, that it was...
Explicit.
The Bank of Ghana was withdrawing Forex.
Withdrawing Forex.
To support these...
And once you are withdrawing Forex,
products, yeah.
And then activities of the black market is also illegal, then these people, where are they going to buy Forex? And then suffice it to say that they have their own external way of getting the fund to bring in the goods. At the end of the day, they will still have to service those credit or whatever means that they got the funds to bring in the goods. So it's explicit here that the importation of these goods have been banned. Where we haven't even started.
Let's be careful not to use the wrong words.
But okay, so define what the Bank of Ghana did to me. If they are not banning it, because if you say that you are not providing forest for them.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? Because they bring these goods and they don't sell it for they do sell it for what? They sell it for the forest to be able to service their suppliers.
Yes.
And they cannot also fall on the black market, because the black market is even illegitimate, illegal. As the directives of Bank of Ghana itself is clamping down on the... So where are they going to get the forest to?
Right.
So you are telling them that it's banned. And we have to call a spade. So government should come out as early as possible to show its position on this. Otherwise, it will bring confusion. And as I said, what is going to bring to the populace is not a joke. Because this is not a small venture that we are going to enter, right. Because food is at stake, and the food, the major staple food that Ghanaians have adopted, and that's the rice and then oil and all that. So if you are not prepared, before some of these things are done, you have prepared yourself adequately, and then bring out the timelines. You said that maybe for rice we have about 600,000 metric tons to go, and so the first year we are aiming about maybe 300,000 metric tons, and so whilst we are aiming at production of 300,000, in addition to what we already produce, we will also shore up with import of about 300,000. So you have been able to reduce the import and then bringing up the local productivity. Right. So this is something that we do it
systematically.
Systematically. Then we read there. But from the action of on the directives of the Bank of Ghana, does not sink well.
So you think that it was in a rush, and government needs to bring some clarity to this matter and to tell us whether indeed what they meant by withdrawing Forex for the import of these is that the products are banned?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. All right.
If it is not banned, what else?
Okay. Let me come to Mr. Adomako. You have, I'm sure, have followed this particular story and policy directive by the Bank of Ghana, the withdrawal of Forex for import of these category of goods and all that. And you just heard Mr. Dr. Bing indicate that we need clarity on the matter. Some other people also believe that this particular directive is long overdue. What's your opinion? Since you heard it, what have you been thinking about as far as this particular issue is concerned?
Thank you very much, Kennedy. I think as a country, we cannot forever be importing everything that we need as a country. However, if you want to wean yourself from import, you must have the relevant capacity to be able to produce and export. As it stands now, if you look at the market, you realize that our total demand and what we produce locally, there's a deficit in the gap. And if Bank of Ghana withdraws Forex for the import of these products, what it means is that it's going to lead to shortage of those essential commodities, and prices are going to go up, and then people will need to pay more. Already, we live in an era whereby the city has been battered by the raging storms of depreciation, and also staggered by the Chile's. The economy has also been staggered by inflation. So if we allow this BOG measures to stick, what it means is that we are going to create more problem. I think for Bank of Ghana, they need to look at the welfare implication on household. Already, a kilogram of 5 kg of rice, which was being sold early January for 15 cedis, now sold at almost 100 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
People's salaries have not been adjusted to reflect the rising price levels. And so for me, I think that whilst I agree with the ultimate goal in terms of the long-term goal of this measure, but its current implementation, I think that there is a problem with it. And I think that your solution should not be worse than the problem. Of course, if we stop importing all these things, we'll save Forex, we'll be able to create jobs, and also grow our local industries.
Right.
But do we have the capacity? And I think that this is something that BOG alone should not sit at the high street and make that release. It's something that it needs to involve the Ministry of Trade, MOFA, and Ghana Statistical Service, because they have the data. And once the data comes, they look at what are the current capacities of these products. How many are we able to produce? So look, if government is supposed to, let's say, invite, you come to the rice sector, government say, look, we need 5 champions. We are going to give them subsidized loans to go into a massive rice production, maybe within the period of 2 years. And after that, we are going to ban importation of rice. That is what an action where's policy backed by an action and what funding.
Because the grounds have been laid and preparations have been done.
Yes, but as of now, none of these things have been done. And so I think that is kind of not the right, decision for policy for the BOG to come up with.
So you are in tandem. You are reasoning with Dr. Obin when he says that the policy has been rushed by the BOG because there seems to be no preparation on the ground to ensure that we have the capacity, or no research has been done, so to speak, to ensure that yes, we have the capacity to produce some of these things in this country, and in what quantities. That's why we are trying to stop the importation, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so the BOG, per the directive, also described rice and vegetable oil as non-essentials. Is that really the case?
What is non-essential is relative. When there is hunger and starvation, rice is, food, but food is an essential commodity. It's essential because we need to eat to live. And so I don't necessarily agree with the BOG statement on that. I think that we should not allow the BOG to kind of be the implementing agency for this policy. We know that a time will come whereby we will say goodbye to importation. But is this the right time? And even before you say it's the right time, a lot of things needs to be put in place before you can. In the past, Ghana were using, foreign coaches for our national team. But for the last couple of years, we have local who are also, acting as what? coaches for the senior national team. You need to be able to build your capacity before you can do certain things. Right. And this capacity, local capacity, have not yet been built. And so it's like you are jumping the gun in taking this decision. And I don't know whether Bank of Ghana also know the implication of its decision, because if you shut Forex services to importers, it's also going to lead to the closure of some businesses. There's also an issue of food security.
Right.
People can't get food to buy. And even if you can buy it, it will be at a high price that you need to make a difficult choice between, let's say, paying for electricity or buying food. And also, there's also another issue of what? National security implication, because the borders are porous. People will be able to bring those products from other countries.
Smuggle it into the country.
And then you are going to lose revenue as taxes. And so I think that BOG should not be the only person to, make such a release. I think that it needs to even involve the national security as well as the MOFA, MOTI, and GSS and other government agencies. And let's look at the way forward, give ourselves timeline, and work towards achieving the realistic goal that will serve the interests of the market. Because this policy, this statement from Bank of Ghana has the potential of what? Sending prices up. Already, every day, prices are going up when you go to the market. Sometimes hour by hour. It's changing instant. Every time it's changing.
No, but I dare say, before you continue, I dare say that some of our people also take advantage of that, of the situation to inflate unnecessarily their prices. For example, I buy a cake of soup around my area. Those is like for 8 cedis. Recently, my daughter went to buy. They told her it's for 20 cedis. And and when I went to Melcom previously, and then I realized that the price tag on it was 14 cedis. So I said, oh, but I've been buying it at so and so place for 8 cedis. So why don't I go there? And when I came there, it was 20 cedis. So I had to go back to Melcom and buy. And so I think that our people are necessarily taking advantage of the situation to, shoot up prices and hike their prices so that we can't afford.
I think that one is true. Unfortunately, people are abusing the crisis that we find ourselves in. Excessive pricing have just characterized the day. And one thing is that in this country, prices never recover. Whenever prices go up, it doesn't come down again.
Absolutely.
And so as a government, anything that you do to disturb the pricing, the CD, I think we need to be very careful. It's like your heart. If your heart fractures, you die, you can't come back to life again. So we should also see how we work seriously to keep the economy, the Ghana CD strong so that it doesn't deteriorate. Because once it deteriorates, prices the best it can do is what? Stabilize at that current price. But the way businesses are abusing the current scenario stage, we don't have the relevant laws like consumer protection laws and even competition law. Now most businesses, they take a phone and, hey, master, all the rights energy say 400 cedis. Oh, there be 600 cedis, and then they all agree.
And so
that is also a price fixing.
Absolutely.
That is also price fixing, which is also a criminal under the draft competition and fair trade practices bill. So we need to get the relevant laws to be able to police the market to avoid excesses that are being unleashed on by businesses onto consumers.
All right, so I agree.
I don't think I will be here. Yes. And then you say you bring this topic without me talking.
Please do.
It is very unfair. Most people have come to realization that we are profiteering, and they've been saying anything about traders. Now, even Ministry of Agriculture selling plantain and all that. This is not fair. Prices have gone up because of the obvious reasons. The exchange rate, the factors of exchange rate, the taxes that we pay, VAT having gone up, the accumulation of cost of doing business. And it's as simple as that. Duties have gone up, benchmark values going up, and all that. I don't want us to deviate the topic, but it will not be fair, because in the market, let me tell you, you just said that when your daughter went to a place, the price was high, but you went to Melcom and you got it better.
Yes.
It means that we are in a liberalized trade. We are not in a monopolistic state for trading. And so, if you go to the market, there are thousands of traders there. And then you punish the one with the higher price, and then reward the one with the cheaper price. That's the way to go.
Yes.
If you want to bring what my brother was suggesting, the competitive laws and all that, if you want to bring something like price control, government have to import its own goods and then control its prices. It's as simple as that. But nobody, the trader will not bring his goods, the capital, wherever he got his capital, the duties that he paid, the interest rate that he's paying, and all that. They are all relative. Everybody have his own source of capital. Some of them do not have the loan. They do not go for loans. So they can afford to sell cheaper.
Right.
Some went for loans. So their price is so diversified.
So they can
you
service
go to
their
the
loans.
market, search for the one that is cheaper. We have thousands of traders there. And so you do not say that some of them sell extorsively high. It's neither here nor there. Punish him. You are the customer. So I don't want us to divert the whole issue by coming back to the Bank of Ghana directives and all that. You cannot just wake up and say that we are not going to give Forex to importers of rice and oil and these commodities. Without factoring the fact that if not anything at all, people have already brought in these goods, and they will need the Forex to service their debt. That's why I was saying that we have to bring...
Christmas is even also around the corner.
Exactly, we have to bring the appropriate timelines and all that. If government do not manage this well, it will throw the whole program out. Because for me, the importer, I might be seen to be vindicated. Because we've been saying that we do not have even the resources, the ideas, and the plans to do it. And that's why we are bringing the shortfall of supply. The demand is higher. And then we sell the locally made rice, as we've been talking about all the time. It's not even the farmers who sell it. It's the traders who sell it, and we bring the shortfall of demand. So if government want to go this way and it does not manage it well, it does not come back again and blame the importer for their inability, even though they have the support for all of us. At least there should be a time that we have to try to look within and consume what we have. And so when we have all given the backing and all that, they should manage and we call something transitional. We should have a transitional arrangement to migrate. And don't forget that these importers are the potential investors into the local plantation of these items. And so if you do not do anything to encourage them, to metamorphose them into this new venture that you are undertaking, then what have you succeeded doing?
All right, so what it is that, was there any stakeholder consultation of any sort before this announcement was made? Were you pre-informed and were you called for discussions?
This is what AGI, to tell the truth, the benchmark issues and all that. Let's shortlist. We have 43 items we can produce locally. This thing have been going on in your table, and this is what have been going on, and it seems to sync with government directives. Now that we are, let's shortlist these items, and these items, the rice, pasta, water, and edible oil, and all that. Were shortlisted. And it's not always that we have to go on defensive, that we have to defend our position and all that. So at a point, especially this time that the forest is in trouble, the depreciation is this high, then if government is giving a directive that this is another way that we are using to help solve the depreciation of the city, then of course we also have to support it. That's why I say that at a meeting with the Select Committee on Trade at Parliament, AGI, Chamber of Commerce, GUTA, we all seem to be in consensus the fact that this is the way to go. But if this is the way to go, the approach and the methodology should be a very productive and proactive and workable. But I don't see the directives of the Bank of Ghana. It has overthrown the whole thing out of place.
Right.
For us, if you are not able to do, it goes a long way to vindicate the importers that we told you so. Told you that they couldn't, because we've been here, and then we've been talking about local productivity and all that, and we said that the onus lies on government to make everything that you have to do to shore up the local productivity, and that if there's a shortfall, we importers will bring it. And now it has gone to a situation that the punitive steps is being taken, that we won't give you forest and all that. And so what comes first is a government a deliberate and conscious effort to make this thing work, to ensure that we are able to enhance on the local productivity, to pack these things well, so that it will be in tune of international competition, and then the locals will be better served, as I've already said, because we are not bound. The trade that we do, the importation that we do, we are not bound that we should trade from outside the country. And that if we have the goods in our own country, it will help us, because in this case we are not going to pay any duty and anything, the stress that goes with shipment and all that. So that's why we seem to we are seriously supporting this direction, so that if it works, then it works for all of us. But from what is going on, I don't think if government do not do anything to show that we are serious about this, this one will not work.
Mr. Adumako, do you think that there could be a better way of going about the introduction or announcement of this whole new policy by government?
Yes, I think in my earlier submission, I did make mention that this is a very good policy to wean ourselves from import. But the timing is wrong, because the right thing has not been done. And so, and I want to reiterate these points again. First, government, we need to make use of the JSS, Statistical Service, because they have the market data. And even within the Ministry of Agri too, they also have a department that handles data on food security. What does the data tells us? What are the gaps in this locally produced products? So now, let us identify the local, for example, rice. Let us identify 10 firms. Let them come and bid for government grant. Let them go into the large-scale production. Let's give them all the sophisticated gadgets that they need to help them to be able to produce at efficient prices. Let's do all those things, and let's start allow the time to the countdown. Let's give ourselves, let's say, a year or two, that by 1st of January 2026, for example, there will be no imported rice into the country. Around that time, even businesses, people will start even investing in what? In local rice, because rice has become more than our staple food. In the past, it used to be fufu and ampesi. Now, rice has displaced all our traditional food that we normally eat at home. And so, but nothing of these things have been done. And then the BOG alone comes to say that they are withdrawing the forest support. I think that it is not the best for BOG alone to even come and do that, because it's something that goes beyond the Bank of Ghana. And we, in fact, this Thursday, the finance minister will be at the parliament to present the budget. And we also want to see whether the finance minister will re-echo this
particular directive by the
But
Bank
I'm
of
sure that
Ghana.
the parliament will not agree to this, because this is not the best thing for us around this time. I mean, one of my friends said that, well, we have, let's say we have Kantaka automobile company here, but government still import V8, isn't it? So do we say that now let's stop importation of V8 and then let's use locally produced V8? The fact is that Kantaka automobile has not been able to reach the level that can produce the quantity that is demanded. So gradually, you can do what? A phased implementation, so that you don't cause problems, because we say that the solution should not be worse than the problem that you want to solve. But I think that the solution that the BOG is bringing, I think is more, problematic than the problem that they want to solve. And I think that stakeholder consultation is required, and also it also requires government to be able to part money. You know how Nigeria managed to win itself from rice import. They managed to invest in local champions. But here, government is not allowing, private sector can't get credit because government is competing with them for funds. We've seen what has happened over the past couple of months. And if we don't support the private sector to be able to grow, because once they grow, they create businesses and government even get taxes from them.
Yeah, sure.
And so government appetite for borrowing, I think this is the time that it needs to cease to allow private sector to get access to funding, to be able to expand, because there's a big opportunity for businesses that want to go into local production. For me, for every other day, I'll go for local production, because once you produce the goods locally here, you are creating jobs, you are saving Forex. And for these two reasons, I prefer local production to imported goods. But as we know, when the local production is not enough to meet the quantity needed for the market, then you need to allow foreign ones to, and sometimes also, you also want to allow imported goods to come and compete with the local manufacturers, because when people do not have competitive constraints on them, they can decide to increase their prices anyhow. So that is why WTO doesn't, rules still allows countries, though you may have the installed capacity, you still need to allow imported products to come as a way of competing with the local ones. Because when you don't face competition, you will try to increase your prices. You will try to even not improve upon your quality.
Right. Okay. So let me come to you, Dr. Obeng. Some people are suggesting that rather than stop, supporting these imports with Forex, the duties of such, commodities could be hiked to serve as deterrent to those bringing them in. Do you agree?
Duties of imported goods have always been higher. The local manufacturers have a leverage over the importers. We cannot go above what we are paying now. That argument is neither here nor there. Already the local manufacturers have a leverage of over 45% in terms of tax.
Right.
Over the, what they have to do is that we have to be talking about capital acquisition. The cost of capital, about 40%. Your cost of capital being 40%, your competitor elsewhere, cost of borrowing is 2%. So
your microphone, please.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the duties that we are paying is already high.
Right.
Is extorsively high, and then the local manufacturers have a leverage over us in terms of this duty payment. They have about 45%. They have to make use of this leverage that they have over the importers, and that I'm saying that the areas that we have to be talking about, where government, deliberate government effort to resource the local industries, subsidize their cost of borrowing.
Right.
Otherwise, if they are sourcing at 40% now, and then their counterparts elsewhere is sourcing at 3%, they have advantage of over 37% over you, and that one can be transferred to me, the importer. And so this is the area that make them lose out. Right. The cost of utilities, the lack of modern infrastructure, machinery that they use. Because let me tell you, some machines abroad now can turn production maybe units of about 1 million per 1 hour. And our machinery can turn about 100 pieces per hour. Then that alone is cost effective. Yours is not cost effective.
Right.
So ours is so many things that have come together, and that's why I always support that we cannot manufacture everything.
Right.
If you say manufacturing, so we have to look at the areas that we have comparative advantage and dwell on, and then make conscious effort that we make this as a hub of manufacturing in this country to serve the nation.
Okay. All right. So we don't have enough time today. Actually, we will be wrapping up in the next 7 minutes or so. But let me go into the phone lines and speak with Mr. Michael Obrea J, who is Executive Secretary of Exim Frozen Foods Association of Ghana. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I know you have some concerns with this particular directive from the BOG. Can you let us hear you, please?
Exactly. Good evening to your cherished viewers, and good evening to your panelists in the studio. To start off with, I would like to say that I think that for most times when we want to implement policies, we put the cart before the horse. Perhaps policies are not really well thought through before the implementing agencies or the agencies that propose those policies come up with these policies. Because, I mean, in such a time where we're faced with the kind of crisis that we're faced with worldwide, one would propose, or one would have assumed, that in the event that you wanted to churn out such policies, extensive stakeholder consultations would have taken place. Now, let's analyze what BOG intends to do. The whole idea, and I can get the idea that you want to save our Forex, you want to save our currency from depreciating. But is the solution you are proposing what helps? Take, for instance, someone who has already imported goods and the goods are coming, frozen foods or frozen goods, and the goods are coming to the country. He's already engaged his suppliers. Prior to engaging his suppliers, he was depending on the Forex that he would get from the assistance of the Bank of Ghana to pay his suppliers. Now you are saying, I would not give Forex to you again to make that payment. How do you expect the person to survive? I mean, when you do these things, what you do is that you cripple people who are doing legitimate business in your country. You make sure that people are unable to thrive in the business that they had chosen to do. Not that they chose to do anything criminal. They chose to do legitimate business. And when you restrict them from accessing forests in this manner, perhaps you might as well just tell them to shut down and close their books so that their dependents can also go hungry. And for anybody, I also think that apart from the fact that this would affect people who have already imported, I think it's an idea that the implementation of this particular policy is not good. It doesn't serve us any purpose now. And note, I say it doesn't serve us any purpose now. I do not think that at some point in time in our lives as a country, we would not become self-sufficient. We would become self-sufficient. But is government doing the things that would make us self-sufficient now? Policy coherence. If you are not doing the things that would make you self-sufficient now, then you do not expect that if you restrict people from getting Forex, you would solve the problem. What you would do is that you would open us up to a black market. Black markets of people going for Forex, and you know what that would do? It means that there would be a lot more pressure there. You cannot even control it. What that would also do is that some people would decide to smuggle the goods, perhaps import through Togo. Maybe that's a way they can get the goods into the system and smuggle it. Government loses on revenue. The FDA is unable to check the kind of food we're feeding the people with. And so we are going to put the lives of Ghanaians at risk. I think that what government should be concerned about is a program that helps us give the local producers the ability to be competitive. And I disagree with anybody who thinks that it is a policy to implement now. I vehemently disagree with anybody who believes that this is a policy to implement now. Yesterday, I listened to Dr. Obeng on one of your sister stations. I mean, I got that he was of the view that perhaps, well, we should agree to it now so that we'll be vindicated in the future. I do not think that that is how we want to run this country. You should run a country on policies that are well cut through and determined. Not that we should agree to it. I don't think we should agree to it. The vast majority of people who are importing frozen foods or even exporting, dealing in these commodities, do not think that we should just allow it to happen so that we are vindicated in the future. We're saying that government ought to do what it must do in a very concise and precise manner, in a manner that does not disrupt the market. I mean, tell you what, the market will correct itself when we are able to help local people get credit facilities. We're able, you take poultry, for example, and I speak on these matters so passionately, especially because you have 7 minutes to wrap up. So perhaps maybe I'll rush through some of the matters.
Now we have like a minute.
So perhaps maybe in the future, today I was unavailable, I was not in town. So maybe sometime in the future, I'll be in the studio and we'll discuss this more.
Absolutely.
Poultry is
Granted,
fed by grains. You don't have even enough grains to feed children at free SHS. And you want to ban and you want to implement policies that would not allow people to import to supplement the local production. What do you want to create? Do you want to create a system of chaos and anarchy or what?
Right.
I think that the BOG should revise their notes and come again. They should engage the stakeholders. Let us have a conversation and show them how to go about this process.
Point well made. Michael Obreje, he is the Executive Secretary of the Eggs and Frozen Foods Association of Ghana. Granted, we would get you in the studios one of these days so that we can exhaust this particular issue and even discuss more. Dr. Obin, you want to give a quick response before we...
Whatever thing the gentleman was saying is what I've been saying all this time.
Absolutely, yes.
Nobody have defended importers more than myself. Most time to the annoyance of even the powers that be.
Yeah.
And so you should not, but what I'm saying is that if you listen to AGI and the argument that have been going on, anytime there's depreciation, they put the blame on importers. And I think it's about time that we have to prove ourselves that whatever that we have been saying is true. Not that even the simple fact that you have to even start local productivity and do it well, you are fumbling with the issues. And that's when I said that what they are doing, traders will be vindicated. That whatever we are saying, we were true about it. That because of our inability to deliver, that's why we are importing. And to show up the demand. If I say this, I haven't said anything wrong, and I'm just much in line with whatever he is saying. And so when somebody talk, they should take their time to understand. I hope you understand.
I do. All right. Okay, so let me do some messages now. This one says thumbs up to... No, this one says, hello, Mr. Host. Are your panelists suggesting that water, toothpick, pastries, and waste paper, cooking oil, dead fowls, items the country needs to import? I suggest only rice importation should be looked at and reduced by volumes. This one says, hello, brothers. My contribution is that the governor is lost from the situation, and we are looking at his statement made. Ghanaians' challenges are the foreigners handling our black market. These foreigners are bringing CFA into the country and changing Ghana cedis and later change the cedis into dollars. These dollars are transferred through money laundering to neighboring countries. Now, second issue is that pastors in Ghana who have mother churches in different countries continue every day to change dollars from churches' proceeds for their mother churches outside Ghana through money laundering. These are ways of checking the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar, because more people are demanding dollars and supply is limited. My name is Nanause, an importer. I think he's made sense, yeah.
I mean, sometimes they blame the poor importer. If you look at my frustration, I'm ready to go with anything that we have to prove that whatever thing that we have been saying, we have actually been helping the nation. Now with this exercise alone, see how people are wobbling. Those people who were even saying that they import in toothpick. Now that Bank of Ghana brought this exercise, they are all talking in different directions that if care is not taken, we are going to suffer. It vindicates the importer. We haven't done anything bad. Whatever thing that we are doing is to complement the effort of government and local productivity. And so if we are doing this, we have to do. But for the fact that maybe at a point we will also have to look at where we have potential and enhance on, also need to be supported regardless of whatever side you are, whether you are importer or you are AGI. So that's what I want to say.
Okay, Mr. Adumako, we have the after also around after in the system, and this particular policy directive has come. I don't know what you think is going to happen. Do you think it's going to have any effect on the after?
AFCFTA allows for movement of goods and services across borders, and goods move when there is a demand.
Right.
So if we have enough rice locally produced and they are of quality and better, I'm sure that Ghanaians no business would even risk going to get forests to import rice from, let's say, Kenya or Nigeria.
Right.
So all boils down on our ability to produce locally effectively and also better in a way that consumers would want. If you produce the rice even in excess demand and yet excess supply and the consumers don't want it, they will go out and still buy the imported one. So the onus lies on us to get what consumers want. And once we do that, I don't think it will sin against the rules of AFCFTA.
All right, so I think this is where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Our Import here on Metropolitan Television. Today our time has been quite limited because of the World Cup, like I told you earlier on, and from henceforth it's going to be like that until maybe after the World Cup, then we can revert to our traditional time. That's for 5:30 that will come your way with the program. I'd like to say a big thanks to Dr. Joseph Obin, who is president of GUTA. I also say a big thanks to Mr. Pierre Kusa Adumaku, who is the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International Accra, and indeed also joining us by phone was Michael Obreje, who is Executive Secretary of Exim Frozen Food Association of Ghana. We say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goil Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and Meridian Port Services for always standing by us in terms of sponsorship. We're grateful to you for listening. Remember, for watching. Remember, the abridged version will be showed on Ghana Television at 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Do make a date and watch. My name is Kennedy Mona. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another edition. Good evening and have a super week ahead.